The sun rises over one of the world's great horse breeding empires. These snow-covered paddocks are not in Europe or America, they're in Hokkaido, Japan. A country of ancient traditions and cutting-edge modern technology. A world leader famed for its cars, cuisine and the thoroughbred racehorse.
Delta Blues fighting back. Delta Blues Pop Rock. Delta Blues wins the Cabernet to Pop Rock.
Victoire Pisa in front and wins for Japan. Victoire Pisa out in front. The pre-Dispahan has absolutely annihilated the field. Shin Hikari wins the Dispahan.
And Mayarekti raced up to Rising Romance. They come to the line. And Mayarekti in the last stride beat Rising Romance. A photo third.
Since the turn of the century, Japanese horses have won the biggest races in every corner of the globe. Hong Kong, Dubai, Europe, America and Australia. Every major centre of racing has felt the force of Japanese raiders.
And Morris, what a champion, wins the cup.
Yet just 40 years ago, Japan was considered an isolated outpost of unknown pedigrees and inferior horses. How has this nation risen so far, so fast? The earliest records of horse racing in Japan date back to the 8th century, when the royal family put its best horses to the test. In the 1860s, modern racing arrived through British immigrants and took hold. Racing continued to flourish through the 20th century, and in 1981, Japan decided to test its strength, inviting the world's best horses to race for a huge purse in the Japan Cup. But for the locals, things didn't quite go to plan.
The first running of the Japan Cup, that was, very first international race organized in this country. It was the first running of Japan Cup. Our Japanese representatives are the winner of the Emperor's Cup, winner of the Japanese Derby, winner of Arima Kinen. Very, very top our horses. But the best Japanese horses were well beaten by the foreign raiders, like G3 winner from the United States, or this kind of the horses, are much stronger than Japanese top horses.
International visitors from the USA, Ireland, England and France all claimed early runnings of the Japan Cup, before the New Zealander Horlicks saluted in 1989. The following year, the Cup was claimed by Australia after a brilliant final burst from Better Loosen Up.
He's Better Loosen Up in the middle, is coming with a magnificent run. Kakawithi's Better Loosen Up and Ode. Better Loosen Up in the middle's put his head in front. Better Loosen Up has won for Australia.
We wanted to expose the horse against the best in the world. It was the richest race in the world, and the best horses from everywhere were going there. So we thought he was the best, and thankfully he proved it. We didn't know a lot about Japanese horses at that stage, but they were buying all the best broodmares and bloodlines in the world. When we got there, the enthusiasm for the race and racing in Japan just took us all back. I think it was 156,000 people at the meeting. The betting turnover was huge, and the times the horses were running were just incredible.
In its first 11 years, Japanese horses won the Japan Cup just twice. While national pride suffered a blow, the pain of defeat forged a determination that would soon reap rewards.
All of us involved in horse racing and breeding in Japan were very shocked to know, wow, our horses are such a slow. Then everybody, owners, trainers, breeders, and organizers, the Japan Racing Association, determined we have to improve the quality of the racing, quality of the Japanese horses, and everything started from that year, 1981.
Coming up, how Japan's first family of racing single-handedly raised the standard of Japanese bloodstock, and the super stallion that put the rest of the world on notice. On Japan's northern island of Hokkaido, one family was already playing its part in lifting the standard of local horses. Master horseman Zenya Yoshida and his three sons, Teruya, Katsumi and Haruya, were investing in the best international bloodlines.
I think the dominance by the Yoshida family, or Shaidai farm, started in 1970, when Northern Taste became the leading sire in this country. So since then, Yoshida dominance has been lasting now 40 years now.
The great winning son of Northern Dancer in Japan, at that time, it was sensational. The world's most fabulous pedigree stallion is standing in Japan.
Northern Taste was the leading sire in Japan an astonishing 11 times through the 80s and early 90s, and was considered Japan's greatest ever sire. That title, however, didn't last long, as another stallion was soon to emerge and turn Japanese breeding on its head.
And here comes Sunday Silence through the stretch, coming to the finish of the Derby. Sunday Silence wins this Derby by Julie.
Sunday Silence was a Kentucky Derby winner, purchased by Zenya Yoshida and imported to Japan. Despite his impressive racing credentials, his breeding career got off to a shaky start.
First impression by breeders in Japan was not very good, because, you know, it's a very famous story that Sunday Silence is not very correct horse. His knee or stifle, slightly, you know, shape is slightly funny. So many breeders at the first stallion parade, the breeders said, oh, what a funny leg he has. So first of all, you know, he was not very, very popular in Japan. But once his crop started to run, it was amazing.
Sunday Silence was a stallion whose first 2-year-old crop running in Japan won so many listed and group races. It was then that everyone began to believe that he was a special stallion. People soon began to realize that he was a different type of stallion not seen before in Japan.
When Sunday Silence horses started to run in Japan, he dominated all big races. Not only Sunday Silence son or daughter winning the race, second and third, all were Sunday Silence. So people are very much shocked.
One of the speciality by the Sunday Silence influence is turn of foot, acceleration. You know, in Japan, going of the track is quite quick and fast. So turn of foot is very important to win the racing in this country. So most of the Sunday Silence progeny had this kind of, you know, turn of foot. So then, era of Sunday Silence came, and Sunday Silence was leading sire in Japan for 13 years in a row. Of course, this is the record.
Sunday Silence produced such a remarkable run of results that international breeders started to take notice. One of the first to recognise his potential as a breed-shaping stallion was Arrowfield stud in Australia.
First of all, he was an outcross for Australian bloodlines, but most importantly, he was a super dominant stallion, and I could tell that from the figures. His strike rate of elite horses to number of runners was very high by world standards. Of course, you've got to understand that in Japan, the number of stakes races in relation to the number of races run is very low. And so to get the sort of figures he was getting indicated to me he was going to be a very dominant stallion, and we wanted to be part of the action. So we sent some mares to Japan to be covered by him and brought them back in foal to Australia.
Those foals proved extremely popular, averaging almost $1 million at yearling sales in Australia. One of them was Sunday Joy, which won the Group 1 Australian Oaks and, as a broodmare, produced 8-time Group 1 winner More Joyous.
More Joyous is going down to the post to win the Queen Elizabeth in a canter.
We have a long and good relationship with Arrowfield, and I wasn't surprised when John Massara contacted us about sending mares to Sunday Silence. I believe John thought that he was a very good stallion, And in this game, a good horse is a good horse, no matter where it is in the world.
We could see that Japan was rising like a phoenix out of the ground as a breeding nation and a racing nation. And so we felt it would be a good thing for us to join together, perhaps to open up Australia for them and for them to open up Japan to us.
Fueled by Sunday silence, Japanese horses were starting to make a mark internationally. An early indicator came at the 2001 Hong Kong International Race Day, where his son Stay Gold was one of 3 winners for Japan.
Stay Gold's lifting, Ekraz stopping, Stay Gold lunges and wins. Yataka wins the prize.
Another significant breakthrough came in 2005 when Cesario, a granddaughter of Sunday Silence, became the first Japanese horse to claim a Grade 1 race in America.
But no way does she catch the winner, Cesario!
I mean, this is a rare sight for American fans to see one of the best Japanese jockeys and the best 3-year-old filly in Japan. And look at the Japanese press just crowd to see her.
This is a statement they've been trying to make.
Exactly.
It's an international statement about the importance of this race and about how the Japanese industry want to make an impact on US racing.
In that same year, another son of Sunday Silence was taking Japanese racing by storm. Deep Impact swept all before him en route to Japan's Triple Crown for 3-year-olds and quickly became a national hero.
Deep Impact was called horse has the wing. You know, he is, you know, horse can fly. His running style was astonishing. You know, he always come from far behind. And okay, let's say 3 furlong pole or sometimes 2 furlongs pole, you taka press the button. Then Deep Impact, phew, started to fly and, you know, overtake every his rivals. You know, this running style was very dramatic, and people, you know, are excited to see his, you know, late kick, you know, turn of foot on, you know, final part of the race. So this racing style, you know, made him more popular.
I believe his strongest win was his last start in the Arumakinen, when he came from last, swept around the field very wide on the final corner, hitting the lead to stay on and win easily. That was his last start and left a very strong impression.
Deep Impact's success was bittersweet for Katsumi Yoshida, who bred the horse, then sold him as a yearling. At the end of his brilliant race career, the Yoshida brothers bought him back for a record sum. That high-risk move reaped a huge reward, as Deep Impact proved equally impressive as a sire.
He won so many races himself and became popular. Everyone was then looking forward to see how his progeny would perform. When they two started, winning everything, he became a very popular stallion that everybody wanted to use. He set a new record last season with 37 stakes winners. That's why he's so popular, because he produces quality horses. He set a new record last season with 37 stakes winners. That's why he's so popular, because he produces quality horses.
Deep Impact, like Sunday Silence and Northern Taste before him, stands at Shaidai Stallion Station. When Zenya Yoshida passed away, he left control of the stallion operation jointly to his 3 sons. Now Shaidai Stallion Station is home to more than 30 of Japan's best stallions. Its dominance over the local breeding industry unparalleled in any major racing nation.
Honestly, the main reason of success is due to Zenya Yoshida and now his sons Teruya, Katsumi and Haruya. I believe it is similar to Arrowfield's success being based around John Messara. The success comes from these people building their life on horses. To give you an example, Mr. Katsumi Yoshida, regardless of how busy he is out at track work watching horses work every morning. Until the age of 60, I never saw him take a normal overseas trip that wasn't for horse business. He goes to where horses are. That is his life, and Zenya was the same. And that is where the success comes from.
Shaidai Stallion Station, the stallions are treated like royalty. Exercised, groomed and prepared for stud duty with incredible attention to detail. But there is no doubt who the king of this castle is. Deep Impact commands his own bodyguard, and with a service fee of $350,000, he is the most valuable stallion in the world.
From the body type point of view, Deep Impact is a smaller horse compared to Sunday Silence. In regards to results, I think they are fairly similar. But for me, the difference between Deep Impact and Sunday Silence is Deep Impact has a better pedigree, and personally, I honestly believe that his results are better. The other thing about Deep Impact is that he is much easier to handle than Sunday Silence ever was.
As a racehorse, Deep Impact signalled the moment Japanese horses had caught up with the rest of the world. Since his win in the 2006 Japan Cup, no international horse has claimed victory in the race.
But it's Deep Impact surging to the lead. Two champions of the Japanese turf, Takeyutaka and Deep Impact weeds aboard, closing fast with Dream Passport. Deep Impact losing slightly ground, getting in the fence, but goes on and wins by 3.5.
And if more proof was needed that 2006 was the year Japan had arrived, it came loud and clear on the first Tuesday in November. Coming up, how Japanese horses left an indelible mark on Australia's greatest race.